Hi, I'm Cogan. Before this video starts, you definitely need to know what STP even is, right? So, what's STP?
What the heck is STP? It's Banentry P for redundancy. It keeps your network clean, you see. It prevents the loops that would be deadly. To keep things working, gotta block the ports. Broadcast storms are just the worst. These rhymes are trash, call me link saturation. I'm calling for STP recalculation. Layer 2 is great, I say that in quotations. Unlike layer 3, STP runs operations. Have a good vacation, chill like layer 2. Counting on the protocol to do what it can do. Gotta keep a loop-free topology. Block off and open up different paths, you see. Gotta keep a loop-free topology. Do I prefer layer 3? Quite possibly. Thanks STP, at least you got 2's back. You're still annoying, don't you forget that.
Okay, cool. So now we know what STP is. Let's explain the process. Okay, so our goal is to get a loop-free topology on layer 2 using STP. So what we need to do is elect a root bridge, root ports, designated ports, and blocked ports. And to do that, we use something called BPDUs. Bridge Protocol Data Units, if you feel like being smart. Within each of these BPDUs, we have something called a bridge ID. These bridge IDs are used for the actual election process based on the lowest one. On top of these bridge IDs, we have something called extended system IDs. And these are used to identify the VLAN on the BPDU. If two switches have like matching whatever, identification, right? Then we go on the MAC address, and the lowest MAC address is the one that gets priority. And so the election process begins. Every 2 seconds, a switch sends out one of their BPDUs, and then it is determined which is the lowest, and if they're matching, then it relies on the MAC address. The bridge ID identifies which switch actually sent the BPD, and using that information is how the root bridge is determined. After this, we need to elect the root ports. So to do this, every switch just kind of sends out a notification of the closest one to them, and then whichever one is the lowest cost, meaning it is the smallest distance to get there, is the one that will be used. So if we have a bunch of switches, but some of them are further away from other ports, those will not be used. Whereas if we have a couple ports that are closer to some switches, those are the ones that will be prioritized and therefore picked and elected as the root ports. And now we move on to electing designated ports. These are ports on the segment between two switches. The designated port provides the best path to get to the root bridge. That's why it's necessary. By electing designated ports, every single switch will have a clear-cut path to the root bridge, which is what we need to prevent loops. Now at this point, there could still be loops because all the ports are still open and anything could happen. I mean, we assigned them by name and we assigned them by where they're going, but still, there could be loops. They could be being shot all over the place. We could have frames going everywhere. So in order to stop that, we need to block some ports and just kind of temporarily turn them off, and then just make it so we can turn them back on, but just kind of block them for the most part, because if they're not, we'll have loops, and STP, it's the job to prevent it. So these are called alternate ports, and yeah, their job is basically just to do nothing for the time being and just kind of let everything else do its thing, and that way it will flow smoothly. Some frames are shut down, and that's where different states come in. So we have the blocking state, which means they can receive BPDUs. Gosh, I can't nail that. BPDUs, but they cannot forward frames. The listening port state can receive and send BPD, but it cannot forward frames, just like the blocking state. Now the learning state is the exact same as the listening state, except it can update the MAC address table as it receives new information about switches. The forwarding state is the same as the learning state, however, based on the name, it can forward frames, unlike the 3 that came before it. Finally, the disabled state, I think it's fair to say that you know what that one is. That about sums it up. I think I'm gonna go back and listen to that fire rap song. I mean, that guy was good. I don't know, he was just really good. Blew my mind. But yeah, hope you learned something. Bye.